Hey, Xiaomi here. So today I wanted to do the mid-year book freakout tag. This was created by IsthatChami. I'm not going to be linking her video down below, but I am going to be writing the questions down below just because I'm working with my phone, not too savvy when it comes to technology. So we're working with what we have. And I really wanted to do this tag for quite a while. So I was like, you know what? Let me just sit down and film it. So let's just, get right into it. The first question says, best book you've read so far. This was a little bit difficult because I've had a couple of books that I've read that I have like really enjoyed. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go with this one because this is the one that I've been gushing about like so much, even though I've been gushing to myself about it. But this was such an interesting book. I love the idea, the concept behind it, the characters, the world building, the pace. Everything was just so incredible. Like from the first page, I was immersed within this world. It's like I couldn't turn the pages fast enough. And what you have here is that you have characters that are called magia, so they have magic, but their magic is called affinity. So there is this brink because it takes place in New York City, so there is this brink, and this brink is like a prison to them, but also has a lot of other interesting details. You just have to read the book in order obviously to discover everything else, because there are so many plot twists and turns that are happening that in the end you're just going to be like, oh, what the hell is happening here? Because it's like, everybody's trying to con everybody, and every single character is working for the same thing but for different reasons. And it was just, everything was so interesting because you have these characters, some of them have morally great tendencies and they want to right the wrongs that they've done in the past. The only way they can do that is by getting this book, because this book is going to help them with that brink. And there's this order that's trying to destroy the magics because the magics are becoming extinct. So obviously, there's a lot of things that happen. Characters side with one another, but for their own selfish reasons. I loved the characters, even though some of them were really selfish, some of them were bastards, others were just like, oh my god, what the hell is happening here with these characters? But it was just so intriguing. Like, Esther was such a strong and fierce character. She was also a smart mouth, but I really did love her banters occasionally with Hart. Hart is a character that grew on me in the end with something that he did, because he had these shady tendencies that sometimes I was like, boy, I don't like you right now. I honestly don't like you right now. And Viola was an interesting character. Wanted to know a little bit more about her. You do have 6 different points of views. You get more points of views from some characters than you do from others, but it's really nice to delve into these minds, because sometimes you want to know what the hell they're doing, because behind the scenes they're also doing some other acts that you really want to know more about, because like I said, there's so many things that are happening in this book. And I also loved how Egyptian mythology was woven into this book, and just like I said, everything, the idea, the concept, the pace, is just completely fast-paced from the beginning to end. Everything or something is always happening with these characters, and you don't know who's going to turn on who. You don't know who's going to be victorious until the near end, and that's something that I have to enjoy. It left me, mind boggled, my jaw dropped in certain occasions. If I can take anything from this book away, is that sometimes I really wanted more physical character descriptions from certain characters. You do also have a female and female relationship, even though you don't get too much about it, but it's woven within the book. You also have a crippled main character who I loved. Dolph was such an amazing character, and I loved everything that he stood for, even though he's a character that did these acts that he wants to repent sort of for, but he has a weird way of going at it. But his character was really intriguing, and I wanted to know just more and more about him, and everything was fascinating. There are some things that left me a bit skeptical, and some things that I was like, I want to know more about that, because I don't get it. Like, there were 2 specific moments that had me like that, like, I don't get that. Elaborate a little bit more. But hopefully those points get elaborated in the second book, because the second book is about to come out. But this urban fantasy just, swept me away. It immersed me within the world, and I just loved everything about it. Read it. It's that good. So the next question says, best sequel you've read so far. And for that one, I'm going to have to go with Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levensetter. This is the sequel to Daughter of the Pirate King. I really love this book. It's 5 out of 5 stars. If you want a swashbuckling adventure from beginning to end, this is where you're going to get it. I also love how the sirens were woven into the story. It's action-packed from the beginning to end, and I continue to love the characters. In the middle, it does have like this slow kind of pacing for a book that started out really strong. Like, the middle kind of like slowed down a bit for me, and I was a bit struggling through that. But overall, everything was just entertaining, and I just loved it. And I love how you have an open ending to it. So I hope that in the near future, the author does delve back into this book, because everything about it was really fascinating. The one thing that I can nitpick is that I expected more from her father than from what you got in this book. I don't know why. It's just like, I wanted a little bit more. And also some things that I was like, oh, Oh my god. But I also did love that you got more from Alosa's female crew, which is something that I wanted from the beginning, like from the first book when they were like mentioned a little bit. Here you get a lot more of that, and there were times that I have to admit that Alosa got on my nerves, and I was like, woman, just give into it. Just give into it. You know you want to, and that was the only thing like I can nitpick with, but it was a really entertaining read for me. Question number 3 says, new release you haven't read yet, but want to. And that one I'm going to have to go with The Book of M by Peng Shepherd. I pre-ordered this book. That's how much I wanted to read this book. It was really interesting. This is from a debut author. And I think it's fascinating. And I know that if I try to explain it to you, I'm going to butcher it. So I'm just going to like read a little bit of a synopsis that's given to you in the beginning. And this is the one thing that really captivated me to like pick this book up. It says, I just looked at set and I said set. It says that set in a dangerous near future world, the Book of M tells the captivating story of a group of ordinary people caught in an extraordinary catastrophe who risk everything to save the ones they love. This sweeping debut illuminates the power that memories have not only on the heart but on the world itself. And I'm hooked. The fact that it's dystopian, the fact that what I know about this is that there are shadows from people that are disappearing, and also certain things start to happen once these shadows start to disappear. And it was a dystopian. That was one of the things that really drew me in, because I want to get back into dystopian, because I think it's like a genre that's like lost track, or people have lost track of it. But I'm hoping really good things, and I'm really hoping that this book will deliver, because I was really intrigued by it. I pre-ordered it. And this mother really did cost a lot. Like, I pre-ordered it and it cost way more than other books that I was really anticipating. I was like, you better be good. So I'm just hoping that it's good, you know. Yeah, that's all I can say about it. But that's one that I'm really, really hoping I'll get to it soon. Question number 4 says, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Wow, there's a couple. And probably there's a million more that I'm not going to mention right now. But I'm going to be mentioning 2. And that's Wildcard by Marie Lu, which is the second book in the Warcross series. I don't know what the series is called, but it's a sequel to it. I can't wait for it, because the first book kind of ending like on somewhat of a cliffhanger. Not really a cliffhanger, but like you want to know what else is it that these characters are going to do, because it was just really interesting, and I'll get to that one in a few minutes. And like the other book that I can mention is like the third book in the Sea of Ink and Gold series, which is a trilogy, and the third book is going to finally come out, which is called The Storyteller. I really did love The Reader by Tracy Chee. I haven't read the second book because I'm waiting for the third one to come out, so I can just binge read all 3 of them. But those are the 2 that I'm really, really highly anticipating. And probably the third one that I'm going to be anticipating is like where is it at? Like the third book in the Dark Artifices series, because here I have book 1 and book 2. And those are the ones that I'm really, really anticipating. Of course, there might be more, but you know, they don't come to mind at the moment. But those are the 3 that I'm going to say. For question number 5, it says biggest disappointment. And I made a video of my biggest disappointments of 2018 so far. If you want to check it out, it's on my account. But there's one that I didn't mention in that video, and that one is Ronit and Hamil by Pamela Laskin. I spoke about this book like in my wrap-up. I really enjoyed the concept, the notion of this book. The fact that you have a modern-day retelling of Romeo and Juliet set in Israel, told in verse. You also have an Israeli girl and a Palestinian boy that fall in love. And also, you know, the struggles and the turmoils that's happening in Israel. It sounded like an interesting concept. The problem is that the story fell flat. It is, like I said, it is told in verse, and the fact that it's told in verse, it just loses so much. And there's so many things, so many details that are missing that I really wanted a little bit to be elaborated on. And also the author does tend to quote other books. And I'm like this book is already, but this book is already small enough as it is. You're also going to start quoting another book. I don't know. It's just something that took away from it. The fact that, you know, there's important details that I really wanted to be included. And just like the delivery of it felt flat for me, and I didn't connect with any of the characters. And I'm a very character driven book. If I don't connect to any characters, I'm not going to enjoy anything about it. And it's like, honestly, I didn't care about these characters, and it pains me because I really wanted to love this book. Like, I went into this book expecting so much, and I was just saddened by that notion that I didn't deliver as much as I wanted it to deliver. And because of that, you know, the details that are supposed to be like really elaborated within the book were really lost, and that's something that I can't praise a book for that. I'm sorry, but I can't praise a book for that. But the concept, the notion behind it is interesting and intriguing, and I suggest for everybody to read it. Even though I gave this 2 out of 5 stars, it is a very important book for you to read if you want to know a little bit more about the situations happening there. So it was, in that aspect, it was really good. For question number 6, it says biggest surprise, and I'm going to have to go with one that I mentioned, previously, and that's Warcross by Marie Lu. For me, Marie Lu is a hit or miss author. I read The Young Elites, wasn't a fan of it, or I read the first book in The Young Elites. I couldn't continue with the rest. I haven't read her other series, which people do rave about it because it's better. A lot of people have told me it's better, but I decided to pick up Warcross just because the cover intrigued me. So many colors. I get drawn by colors, and I was freaking obsessed with this book. Like, I couldn't turn the pages fast enough. I love the characters, the world building. Everything was so interesting. The fact that you have these people that, are basically connected to virtual reality 24/7. And the fact that you have, I forgot her name. What was it? Emika. And, she hacks into a place that she's not supposed to hack into. And obviously she gets, sucked into this new world. So many things are happening. But there's so many characters that I really enjoy, so many side characters that were so interesting and I wanted to know more of. And like, there are also some character plot twists that I was like, oh, you just broke my heart. I wasn't expecting that. I also thought the villain was really good in this book. The villain did deliver, and it made them sweat, it made them run, and it gave them a lot of turmoil, a lot of grief, and that's something that I have to appreciate in a villain. When a villain is truly villainous, but it also takes that twist, and I can't wait to see what else happens in the continuation of this book. But that's why I really did love it, and also because of the characters. They're so different, they're so diverse, and I got immersed within this world. It was really interesting, and I just also love the game Warcross. It was just interesting. I wanted to know more about it, and it was just fascinating to immerse me within this world. It's just, everything about it was just entertaining, and I can't stop gushing about it because I really, really enjoyed it. For the next question, it says, new favorite author, or my favorite new author. I didn't even know how to speak at that moment. But for my favorite new author is going to have to be Casey West. I heard the audiobook for Love, Life, and the List, and I fell in love with this author. You have a fluffy, cute contemporary, and those are perfect for when I needed them. That I loved it so much that I heard 2 other audiobooks, and I was like, what? Like, I really do love this author. She delivers when you want them. When you want a contemporary that's cute and fluffy, just go to Casey West. She's going to deliver. I can't wait to read the new book that came out from her. I'm really intrigued by that one. But I wasn't expecting to fall in love with this author as fast as I did, because like I said, I heard this audiobook and I wanted to continue, and I did. I heard 2 other audiobooks. So it was really fascinating, and it delivered on what I wanted. So yeah, I really highly recommend Casey West's books. For the next question, it says new favorite character. I'm going to unite 8 and 9 because they're from the same books. New favorite character and my new fictional crush. I don't have too many fictional crushes because Kaz is a fictional crush. Lupin, Newt, Sirius. Those are my fictional crushes. I love them to death. But there's one that I really did enjoy everything that he stood for, and he is from, oh my god, Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. I read this book literally in like 6 hours. That's how much I devoured this book. I loved everything about it. I can nitpick like 1 or 2 things, but like everything, the idea, the concept behind it is so intriguing. Like, you have a Viking story. You also have your main character, Aelin, and she discovers that her brother, who's supposed to be dead, really isn't dead. And also the fact as to how family is important in this book and how you create your own family is something that I really did love about this book. And this is a standalone. Oh, this is a standalone. I do know that there's going to be a companion to this series, but like, I don't know who it's going to be. But like, my favorite characters, let me just tell you my favorite characters, then I'll tell you my favorite fictional crush, because I've been gushing about the book. But like, my favorite characters, I'm going to definitely have to say Mira, I hope that's the way you pronounce it, and Halvard. These 2 side characters were really interesting. Like, Mira was really strong, and I loved everything that she stood for. She was really, like, to me, she was stronger than the main character, and that's something that I was like, wow, woman. I love to read like a companion novel based on her, or Halvard, because he was just such a cute character, and I loved how he showed love to Aelin, and how he showed that, he cared about her, and he gave her friendship, and I just loved him. He was just so cute and so sweet. And like for my fictional crush would have to be Fisk. Even though in the beginning I was like, why would she even create any feelings for him? Because you do know that, you know, in the synopsis it tells you that she starts to develop feelings for this specific man, and I was like, why? But then like you understand, and I couldn't help but fangirl because I loved everything about it. I was just like, oh, yep, I need this in my life. I loved him. I loved everything he stood for and what he fought for, and how family to him was really important. And I can't praise by loving him. Like, honestly, and once, you know, that moment, I'm just gonna shut up because I'm gonna shut up. But I fangirled really hard in this book, and I'm for it. I am for it. For question number 10 is book that made you cry. Okay, even though this book was a bit of a disappointment for me, it was a little bit of a letdown. It is the third and final book within the series. I'm gonna have to say it because it made me cry, and that's Battle Mage by Taran Matharu. The ending alone is just worth 4 stars. The rest is debatable, but the ending alone was so freaking entertaining. I have to admit, I know this might be TMI. I apologize. I was PMSing that day, and I was just crying because in the ending there are 2 specific... What? I can't even speak right now. But there are 2 specific characters that are selfless, and I was just teary-eyed. That's all I have to say. You know, the ending like really made me emotional because there were so many things happening, and those specific characters were really intriguing, and like I didn't know what else was going to happen. But like, yep, you know, Battle Mage made me cry. But you know, I was PMSing, so I apologize, TMI. But hey, you know, gotta say it. For question number 11, it says book that made you happy, and I'm gonna have to go with Roomies by Christina Lauren. This was the first Christina Lauren book that I read, and I loved it because Holland can get in some weird ass situations, and she just made me laugh so much. And it was a book that made me happy. It's a book about romance. I loved everything that was happening in it. It also deals with deportation and also how you get married for the wrong reasons, but you know, certain things start to happen. I love this book. I can't complain. It was a really enjoyable book. It made me laugh, and Holland was just so funny, and also loved how her and Calvin clicked. So I'm definitely gonna have to say this one. For question oh my goodness, I'm sorry, but this is live, people. It's what you get. For question number 12, it says favorite book to film adaptation, and I'm going to have to go with the only book to film adaptation that I saw, and that's Love, Simon. I love the movie. I can't complain too much, even though like there's a part of me that's like, why you do that, man? Why you do that? But still, I loved it. It was enjoyable, and it delivered. So I'm gonna have to say that one. I'm not gonna be bitter about it. For question number 13, it says favorite review you've written so far, and I don't know, I think I'm gonna have to go with the review that I wrote for Warcross on Goodreads. I really enjoyed that review. It's the one that I really like put a lot of passion into it. I haven't written any other reviews, so I'm gonna have to get to that. But that's one that I can say. Question 14 says most beautiful book you've bought, and I'm gonna go with City of Bones because this is the 10th anniversary edition of it, and I just loved all the artwork that's thrown out throughout the entire book. It's just really beautiful, and you know, this is a fave book of mine, despite me knowing that it does have, you know, certain flaws to it, but hey, I love it, whatever, you know. And for the final question, it says what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Really? There are so many books that I need to read by the end of the year. If I can show you my TBR shelf, I would. But like I can say like The Poppy War, The City of Brass. I do want to reread the Six of Crows duology. I do want to read the Infernal Devices. I also wanted to read the Dark Artifices. I want to get to Obsidio, reread Gemina. There are a lot of books. Like this could be an endless question, but that's it for this tag. I want to thank you for watching. If you want to tell me which was the question that you enjoyed the most, that you want to answer, then feel free. We'll chit chat down below. But I want to thank you for watching. Until next time. Peace.